What's up, everybody? I am Destroyer, your coach of the Washington Wake. In tonight's video, we are getting into our week 1 match of the Zarude Draft League. We're going up against Rose and the Twisted Witches. Rose actually has the #1 ranked teams, ranked by the admins of the league in their power rankings. It's a very scary team there. Fluttermane obviously is a top threat. Was really hoping that I could get Flutter as my Uber. It didn't work out for me. It never does, but that's okay. Great Tusk as well, super powerful. She's got Corv, the goat of pivots and defoggers. She's got a nice combination there with Slow King, Chilly Reception, and then Kyurem. Terra Captains are pretty cool with Galarian Moltres as well as Magnezone. She's got a couple annoying Pokemon as well with Grafai and Spidops. So let's take a look at how we're going to try and counter this team this week. First up, I'm bringing my own Uber, Magearna. I'm going to have a Trick Room option on the team this week, and Magearna is my Trick Room option. I'm giving her Eject Pack with Floor Cannon and also Volt Switch to be able to get her switched out after setting up Trick Room. Gyro Ball is there for Fluttermane. Magearna should also be able to switch into Fluttermane for the most part and KO with Gyro Ball. Big Bear's coming, our main Trick Room abuser. Facade and Terra Normal, it just wrecks stuff. Unless her, depending on how her Great Tusk is EV'd, it could potentially OHKO it with a Terra Normal. It can also 2KO, it's a roll of 2KO, Corviknight with Terra Normal. Facade, Fire Punch will 2KO Corviknight, and Trailblaze will give us an option if we don't go with Trick Room for Ursaluna to be able to outspeed opponents and potentially get something going there too. Sneasler's coming, Grassy Seed, that's a clue to one of our other Pokemon that we're bringing, but we're going with 4 attacks in this one. Shadow Claw kills Fluttermane, Acrobatics really hurts Great Tusk, Close Combat can do a decent amount to Corv, but we're hoping maybe we can take out Corv with Ursaluna or something else first. And Dire Claw just for general coverage and for that hacks attempt. If you don't have anything else left, you can sometimes win the game with that Dire Claw hacks. Latios we're bringing. This is kind of an interesting weird set. I'm doing a Dragon Dance with Shadow Claw, and the reason for that is because Shadow Claw after 1 Dragon Dance and with this set will be able to OHKO Fluttermane. So I have a Focus Sash so I can get that Dragon Dance off. If she's Scarf or Booster Speed, it's not going to save me. But if she's not, I can Dragon Dance up and KO Fluttermane, and those other moves are just for coverage into the rest of her team. We're bringing Rillaboom, of course. Makes sense with Sneasler that we showed earlier. Taunt is there for her Spidops if she has that to lead, because I'm not actually bringing any hazard removal this week. So I'll Taunt Spidops if it's there. U-turn out, knock off, Grassy Glide. I have a Miracle Seed on this thing, which will give Grassy Glide just enough power to be able to guarantee an OHKO on Fluttermane. So as you can see, my whole team is trying to counter Fluttermane here. Last up, we have a Terra Fairy Chandelure running Expert Belt. Another one that can benefit from Trick Room potentially. Also faster though than a lot of her slower stuff. If we get a chance to get the Flame Charge off, that'll be really nice. With Flame Charge, it'll outspeed her whole team as long as they're not also boosted or scarfed. And with these coverage moves, it'll have a really good offensive profile into her team. Shadow Ball and Flamethrower are hitting a lot for super effective damage, and Terra Blast is there to hit Great Tusk with super effective damage as well as Kyurem. So that's the team this week, and let's get into the fight. Okay, we're getting into the fight here. And I gotta apologize to you guys, I wasn't able to record my voice live last night, so this is going to be a post-commentary version, which I figured was better than nothing. This was a really fun fight, so I'm looking forward to kind of going through it again, and kind of helping to walk through the thought process here. This Latios here, I bring in as my lead with its Sash. I really am worried about her Great Tusk here. It's got a really good matchup into most of my team, My Latios can do some significant damage to it with the Draco Meteor. It's also got the sash there with Dragon Dance, just enough attack investment into Shadow Claw to be able to Oko her Flutter Mane if it leads into that. So was happy here to see Great Tusk, kind of taking this as an opportunity to get Draco Meteor. I wanted to run a Psychic move on Latios here, but I just didn't have the spot. I picked Thunderbolt instead, just for Corviknight, because Corviknight also is kind of a really big issue for my team here. And almost kind of glad I didn't for this particular matchup, because I would have used a Psychic move there and given this Moltres a free switch in. Draco does a pretty good chunk there. Unfortunately, helped this thing to start getting set up with Berserk. And I'm in a spot now where I've just debuffed myself with Draco. I do have Thunderbolt, which is super effective into Moltres here, but I'm just kind of exploring my options. Is there something I can switch to? There's not a lot that I can switch to really easily. This thing is Terra Fire, by the way. In this league, we can do Open Terra, but we let our opponent know Terra's ahead of time. And so she's Terra Fire on this thing. Otherwise, I would think about bringing Magearna in. End up staying for the Thunderbolt. It doesn't do much. And that gets real scary there with that weakness policy. Thank goodness I have a Sash, at least. She hasn't used Agility at this point. And so, based on that first one, I'm kind of thinking here, okay, at least I should be able to kill this thing with another Thunderbolt or come pretty close. Yeah, so this thing is Terra Fire. Her other Terra Captain is Magnezone, who she's got Terra Ground on, she let me know. My two captains are Chandelure, who is Terra Fairy, and in my previous video, I think I might have said that Ursaluna was Terra Normal, which I was planning to go with. I actually kind of switched up last minute and made Ursaluna into a Terra Fairy, mostly because of Great Tusk. Great Tusk just has a really strong matchup into most of my team, and I didn't want to have a fighting weakness in addition to that. Here I am with Latios. Glad to see her Flutter Mane is booster speed. Figured I was going to die here, but that's okay. Click Shadow Claw just in case. So kind of in planning, my main matchup that I wanted to have against Flutter here was Magearna. Got Trick Room on it. I've got Gyro Ball if I just want to attack straight into this thing. So I click this, and I think that I go for a Trick Room here. I kind of was debating, do I just go for a Heavy Slam? But I wasn't sure if she would switch out or not. And Heavy Slam doesn't do much into most of her teams, so I went for Trick Room, and my tech failed me. I had the eject pack for Fluor Cannon. I was expecting that I would be able to set Trick Room and then just blast off with Fluor Cannon. I was expecting to get Mystical Fired by this thing as well, and I just did not think about that. And so that was a real big hit for me. My full health Magearna just got chipped down to about half for, no progress at all. I have my Rillaboom EV'd with Attack and Miracle Seed to be able to O-code this thing if it stays in. So that's what I go for. She's got a lot of things that she can switch into me here, but Flutter Mane is something that you really just have to apply pressure on. Corviknight, somewhat predictable switch here. If I was ballsy enough, I would have just gone for the U-turn, but again, I was just kind of scared of eating a Mystical Fire or a Moon Blast. I don't know if she would have been able to Oko me, but she would have gotten pretty close. So, just go for the U-turn here. I believe that I just go into Chandelure. Chandelure's gonna probably take a hit here. Maybe a U-turn, I'm thinking. But kind of looking at the teams, one of the main possible win conditions that I was looking at was bringing in Chandelure on Corv here. With Expert Belt and with Terra Fairy, Terra Blast, it looked like, kind of in my planning, that this thing could potentially get a sweep going. Of course, I didn't have her Terras on there, so her Terra Captain Magnezone was something that I wasn't able to factor into that calculation here. Otherwise, Flame Charge here, her Flutter Mane booster speed is worn off. I've got Terra Blast, Terra Fairy, which I believe kills Great Tusk or kills Kyurem as well, depending on kind of her EV spreads and investments here. So at this point in the match, I'm feeling pretty good. Wish I didn't take that Brave Bird damage there, but I got my +1 speed. I outspeed her Flutter Mane, and here I go for the Terra Fairy. I see my opportunity to get rid of Great Tusk. Great Tusk again, just a huge threat to all of my team, essentially. Without Terra, it has possible super effective coverage moves anyways. That's one of the great things about Great Tusk, is it just has such a deep move pool. It's really hard to kind of predict. And I was surprised that she hung on here. Didn't ask her, but I believe that this means that she was Assault Vest, because I went back afterwards, and Assault Vest is essentially the only way that thing survives the Terra Blast. She got the knockoff on me, which is unfortunate, but not really a big deal. I was thinking about doing a Flame Charge here again, but I couldn't remember how much my first one did, and I really didn't want to risk it fast enough as it is. As this thing dies, I kind of presumed correctly for what she's about to do here, but common ability on Magnezone is Sturdy. It also gets Magnet Pull, which can trap Steel types, which she may actually have had. I've got no idea. I didn't get a Poke Paste from her. She may have had, now that I'm thinking about it, she may have had her Terra Ground and her trapping for my Magerna specifically, which would have been pretty clever. Do super effective damage to me and also keep me from Volt Switching out with that. So she probably wasn't Sturdy. But with her Terra, she doesn't need to be Sturdy. I think if I had kept my Expert Belt, and if this thing had not Terra'd, a Flamethrower would have been able to OHKO it. That's not the case here. So it's kind of predictable that she's going to Terra. Why not Terra? She's going to die to Flamethrower if she doesn't. So of course she Terras. And of course she's going to be able to kill me with the Flash Cannon here. But I didn't want to switch out into something else. I was also just kind of looking at how badly do I need to have Chandelure here? Am I going to get another opportunity like I had to do the original Flame Charge and setup? And so I opted just to let it go instead of taking chip on something else. Maybe a questionable decision, to be honest with you, because her Corviknight was just such a big issue for me. So things got leftovers, which I was kind of surprised about. Definitely bulkier than I thought too. I'm guessing she's got some Spadef investment in this thing. Again, I didn't have my Expert Belt anymore, and obviously it wasn't super effective, but would have been strong enough to kill it otherwise. So here I go for my orb is not activated on this thing yet, my Flame Orb. Go for the Trailblaze. There's a good little chunk there. Honestly, seeing how much I did, I probably should have gone for a second Trailblaze. Oh, this is why I didn't go for a second Trailblaze. This was something that definitely surprised me here. Was not expecting an Iron Defense variant on this, but I was pretty okay with it. I got my Trailblaze off, and Facade is powerful enough to take this thing down. Cool tech, maybe if she had higher health, probably getting off that Iron Defense would have allowed her to survive a hit from me and really hurt me with body press. Luckily for me, that didn't happen. So, can't remember what she brings in here. Corviknight, of course. Corviknight has a little bit of chip here, and Flame Punch, Fire Punch, does about 60. I think it's 55 to 60, low 60s percentage. So it does a nice little chunk to him here. Reflect, was not expecting. That was some good Corviknight tech there, which definitely makes this kind of end game here a lot trickier for me. Without that reflect, and I was lucky here as well. I don't have the little grid over my power, my health bar there. I'm not sure how lucky that was, but it looked like that was going to be a kind of a close hit to be able to survive that Fire Punch there. And if she had gotten a Roost off, I'd have been in a bit of trouble. So lucky for me, I was able to kill Corv. Out comes Flutter. Flutter's scary, but looking at my team here, pretty confident that I can take one hit. I know she's booster energy speed. Booster energy is gone, and even with her reflect up, Flutter Mane is pretty weak to physical attacks, and Headlong Rush is a very strong move, so takes out Flutter Mane pretty easily. At this point in the game, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I've got 4 to her 1. She has left her Kyurem. She has her Reflect up as well. So I know that this thing's going to kill me at this point. I at least have a speed boost. I can at least do a pretty good chunk to this thing with Facade, even through its Reflect. To get him just below half there. So this thing definitely feels like it's got some bulk investment. Gets rid of Big Bear. Big Bear did a good job and got some kills. Leftovers on this thing I was surprised to see. And this is where I kind of think I misplayed and made this a little bit more complicated than it needed to be. Looking back, I kind of wish I had just brought in Sneasler right here, because even through screens it would have had a really good chance to Oko Kyurem here. I know nothing about its set other than Freeze Dry at this point. I didn't do any calculations to see how much an Earth Power would do. If I was at full health, I knew I would be fine to survive an Earth Power. But no, I was not, and I just wasted Magarena there for no reason. Probably wasn't going to do a whole lot for me. But I'm also allowing him to regain more and more health, with leftovers there. Another thing here that I guess it kind of at this point with the recovery that was happening there, with the bulk that she has on that thing, I'm kind of thinking she's got Reflect up. I need to figure out if I can do a little bit of chip to this thing. I need to waste some time and get Reflect turns down, because I'm not sure at this point that Sneasler is able to Oko this thing through Reflect anyways. So I'm a little bit worried here, and also inadvertently what I've done is set up Grassy Terrain. So not only is this thing getting leftovers now, it's getting my terrain recovery. Again, in hindsight, probably wasn't the best idea, but here we are. Got terrain up. She's got Kyurem. I've got 3 turns left of Reflect. Gotta see if I can figure out a way to do some chip and maybe survive a little bit longer to wait that screen out. Do a Grassy Glide. I don't expect it to do a lot, but it does almost nothing. I survive this, which actually surprised me a little bit, and then I get frozen, which really stinks. So 2 turns left with that Reflect. So at least I'm waiting for turns. I know that I'm going to have one more turn of reflect after this thing dies, presuming that she attacks me here. Just go for Grassy Glide, just in case I dethaw, which I don't. And honestly, it doesn't. Yeah. She does the substitute, and at this point, I really was not expecting a substitute. Really scrambling now. How am I going to win this thing? And I don't think I can. It's got Earth Power. Sneasler's weak to Earth Power. What am I going to do? So I need to be able to break this sub somehow. She kills me. But I believe that this is at least the last turn of Reflect. I don't know how much Earth Power is going to do to Sneasler. Obviously Close Combat does a significant amount to Kyurem here, but I'm kind of thinking to myself, if I have a shot, and I really at this point I didn't think that I have a shot. I actually messaged Rose and gave her the GGs, I'm cooked, because I really thought that I was. And out comes Sneasler, gets his Grassy Defense boost, which makes no difference at all for an Earth Power. And I'm just hoping that I can hang on here. I go for Dire Claw here, just because I don't want to get that defense drop from Close Combat. I know, not sure that I have a shot to survive this Earth Power, but I know if I lower my defenses first, I definitely don't. So I go for a Dire Claw. Hopefully this breaks the sub. It does. Hit by the Earth Power, and I hang on by just a little bit. So at this point, I was just super relieved. This is where the post-com really stinks, because I was shitting my pants yesterday when this happened. I just thought I was cooked. And from here, I feel good. Close Combat is able to OHKO there and finish off the match. So yeah, good game. Rose was a really fun match. Really thought that she had me there. Glad that I was wrong. And thank you, Sneasler, for helping us pull that one out. We'll see you guys next time.